guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legend. Today, gonna be a quick video, I hope, depending on how long I ramble. How you guys doing in the game, first of all? Today, we're actually gonna do a couple things. Number one is talk about one of the biggest mistakes that I've made, and I know I've probably said that a few times on the channel. Heck, I probably have like 3 videos that are like the biggest mistake I've made in Raid Shadow Legends, because the truth is I find new mistakes all the time, right? And I think that's part of the evolution of any player in Raid Shadow Legends. I mean, think about it, right? If you look back to the early days of you playing this game, odds are you would laugh at half the decisions that you made, whether it would be, you know, which champions you upgraded or how you built them out in terms of artifacts and what gear you keep, what gear you get rid of, all that stuff. Today, I've been thinking a lot about artifacts in this game as of late, right? And one of the big things that I'm thinking about on artifacts is all the mistakes that I've made in terms of especially identifying really great artifacts in the end game earlier than before I'm at the end game. Meaning like artifacts that I should have kept. I know I should have kept, now I know I should have kept, but I trashed not recognizing the value in these artifacts. Let's start out by identifying the most rare, aka most valuable artifact in the entire game. That would be a legendary artifact. You know, a 6-star obviously, but you know, 5-star is the same thing. Doesn't matter. Any legendary artifact, no matter how many stars it has on it, that has 4 rolls of speed, right? So a quad roll of speed substat is the hardest, most difficult to get artifact in this game, the most valuable artifact that can really help you out in the end game of Raid Shadow Legends. But it goes beyond just that. Now, kind of rewinding a little bit here. When you get a legendary artifact, no matter what it is, if it has speed as a substat, in crit rate too, to a certain extent, because crit rates are incredibly valuable in this game to get those crit damage gauntlets on your characters, on your champions, you're going to need a lot of crit rate from other gear. So really making sure you identify crit rate as a substat, but most importantly, speed as a substat, and even if it's a flat stat artifact like a chest piece or boots or gauntlets that has legendary rarity that has speed as a substat, go ahead and roll that to at least level 4. You'll see it goes, again, beyond just speed though, and beyond just legendary artifacts. So let's talk a little bit about this. Let's just kind of take... So Vala doesn't have any artifacts on her. I should at least be using her as a mule. First of all, guys, just a little tip. If you don't use mules, you should, right? So what is a mule? Really quick side note here is a champion like Drexstar Blood Twin, right? To free up artifact space, you can see if you're not full on artifacts right now at 700 out of 700, you're going to be, trust me, just keep playing and you're going to be full. So what I do is I go take gear, especially gear that I don't use. I don't use a lot of lifesteal anymore, and I'm just going to equip him with anything. I'm not even going to look at the stats, and this is going to free up very valuable artifact space. That way I'm able to hold on to thousands of artifacts instead of just 700 artifacts on my account. And now that they have the filter and you can, you know, filter into equipped artifacts, I'm still able to find these artifacts. Before they had the filter system, this didn't make a lot of sense because you could lose track of artifacts. But just going onto all the champions that you're not going to be using as food, right? But just other random champions that you don't use anymore. Like, let me see, Drexstar, by the way, is a duplicate for me, so that's the reason I said I wasn't going to be using him. But like all of these rare champions, they should all be fully equipped with gear. Warcaster I'm actually building out for a guy later on this week, but let's just go, you know, Killian right here. You can see he's full of gear. Errol is full of gear. All these guys should be used as mules. That way you can hold more artifacts on your account, and again, you can easily just find them still vis-a-vis the artifact filter system. So on epic artifacts, look at this, a triple roll in crit damage. You want to keep an eye out. See, look at this right here. Lifesteal, speed, 6. This should be, there's really not a big reason that I shouldn't even upgrade this to level 4 or level 8 just to see where my rolls go, right? And again, doesn't have to be a god. This is obviously a great artifact, a god tier artifact potentially. And of course I get the roll in resistance. But touching on resistance, resistance is another stat that, you know, having multiple rolls on can be incredibly valuable. So here, accuracy and resistance, probably the 2 areas that I wasn't incredibly hoping for, but because I know I'm going to keep this artifact, I'll find a use for it somewhere. It's really that good of an artifact that I'm going to take it to level 12. But what I would normally do with any artifact that I identified as incredibly valuable to my account with a substat like this, if I got speed on my level 4 roll, I would definitely take it to level 8. If I got a 2 rolls on speed, I would definitely take it to level 12. And if I got 3 rolls on speed, heck, you have people who are spending thousands of dollars a month on this game, right? A month, who don't own one artifact with a quad roll of speed on it. So you should never ever trash an artifact that's legendary that has speed as a substat. Always level it up to level 4. And by the way, guys, I was kind of inspired to make this video by a video on Mainable Gaming's YouTube channel, and he went into detail. He's end game, like top 10 in the world type accounts. And he broke down a bunch of these mistakes that he wished he had known in the mid game as it applies to the end game. I'm going to have him on the channel to kind of elaborate on some of the themes that he was talking about in that video, really go in depth in when you get to the end game of Raid Shadow Legends, even if you're a free-to-play player, like once you played for a couple years, what are your potential regrets going to be in terms of artifacts? We're going to identify the most valuable artifacts in the game. That way you guys can hold on to them right now. You never know where you're going to be in the future, so you just don't want to be selling artifacts that could be valuable to you. You'll see I have a bunch of level 8s here. I'm checking out the stats, and again, let's go ahead and do one more. And you can see most of these legendaries don't have speed, otherwise they would be already leveled up. Okay, here's one right here. And again, who knows? I just might get incredibly lucky that 0.1% chance at pulling a speed substat here, it might come to fruition, excuse me, a quad roll of a speed substat. Not going to be this time, but even a quad or a triple roll of HP percentage is valuable to me to put on an HP based champion, to put alongside a shield set as a broken set, even if it's regeneration. So it doesn't work out for me there, but this artifact I'm still going to take to level 12 because, again, it's really assessing the value, and this is a big mistake I've made, right? Even if it's an epic artifact, right? Assessing the value of a double or triple roll on artifacts is something that I just did not fully grasp until more recently on my raid journey. And that's something that you guys should be thinking about all the time. If you have a triple roll on defense percentage, guard that artifact with your life. That's incredibly valuable. HP even better, because again, you can pair it with a shield set. Always be thinking about HP percentage stats and how they'll synergize with champions who heal based off of HP, or of course, who you're going to be putting into a shield set. Champions with 18 plus K HP are perfect candidates. And right there, guys, a double roll on HP. When I get a double roll of any stat, preferably, like the biggest whales will say a triple roll, but a double roll are artifacts that I will invest my glyphs into. I don't have a good HP glyph right now, but I will, just for the video, go ahead and use a 4-star, and hopefully I'll get 4%. Of course, I get 1%. Now I'm going to rage use another glyph and see if I can get a 3. I do land it. So 20% HP as a substat is incredibly valuable, okay? So again, to reiterate that, I'm saving my good glyphs. I'm never, ever using a 6-star glyph unless I get a triple roll on that stat. The only exception being maybe like my Arbiter speed lead for my arena team. You know, sometimes you're just not going to get a triple roll of speed on every artifact. That's just not going to happen, right? But for the most part, a glyph rule that, again, you should be taking into account on all of your gear is wait for those, at least a double roll on a substat before you use one of your more rare or high rank, excuse me, glyphs on that artifact, okay? You don't want to be, you never, ever want to waste a 6-star or 5-star glyph on a substat that has no rolls on it, right? So a speed, for example, I don't even have any good speed glyphs right now. I have just this one. Let's pretend this speed glyph was a 6-star speed glyph. There would be no way in hell that you would want to use it on an unrolled or even a 1 roll of speed. No way. Huge mistake. Never ever do that, okay, guys? And then in terms of artifact sets in general, early on, I should have put a huge importance, and I just, for some reason, it wasn't until the last like few months that this really clicked on me, in the shield. You guys probably have noticed it's been a big theme of my videos. Immunity for the arena, Savage, Relentless, and Shield, like they're all right here. These are the sets, excuse me. They're not the only sets, but they're for the big ones, for the end game. And with Doom Tower and Faction Wars, if you're still progressing in Faction Wars, guys, or I should say still, that's probably 99.999% of you guys, I myself included, right? But guys, immunity is great for the arena, depending on the meta, but right now, I mean, as long as tournament's popular, especially tag team, you're going to be good. Warlord, Hegemons, you're going to be good with immunity gear. So value highly immunity gear, especially with speed substats. Value relentless gear, especially for progression for dungeons, incredibly valuable. And value savage gear for your nukers for the arena, or really any of your damage dealers. Those 4 sets are incredibly valuable, and guess what? Shield, immunity, and savage, all Fire Knight, so value Fire Knight, okay? Obviously, there's other speed itself. There's other valuable sets in this game, don't get me wrong, but in terms of end game, you ought to, even if you're not in the end game, you ought to recognize the value of these sets. So, one last thing before we upgrade some god tier gear for you guys. I just got my tag team arena rewards, and I thought it'd be fun to maybe see if we can get lucky on any rolls on my Swift Parry and the other set there, not coming to mind. So, here we go. Shield sets. Shield sets, I don't have a lot of it because it's all equipped right now, right? But shield gear with HP percentage is one of the most valuable things you can get in this game, right? For the arena, for dungeons, everywhere. Shield gear is already like a cheat code to progress in this game. So give me that, okay. So if I get double roll on HP percentage, it's already usable right now, even in the end game with 1 roll on HP on this artifact. If I get 2 rolls, and it's on speed, but still, I'm definitely going to be using this piece because anything you can get to boost your shield wearer's HP percentage is going to be extremely valuable. So again, if you get any shield gear with HP percentage, roll that up, even if it's a flat stat, because sometimes, especially again in the end game in arena strategy, you could even use a flat stat on, again, in the end game, if you get a triple or quad roll on HP percentage on a shield set, because oftentimes in kind of the niche strategy, and again, I know it doesn't apply to most of you guys, but think about it early, that way you're not selling this gear. Think about it now, and you'll be, thanking yourself a year from now or whatever, right? So again, even if it's a flat stat chest, if I get a triple roll of HP percentage, oftentimes my shield wearer, I'm just looking for an OP shield from them. I'm not expecting a ton of damage or anything like that. And think about it. If they already have 70, 80, 90, 100k HP, the shield wearer, then what does it matter if they have a flat stat on their shield chest? It's still going to give you more HP overall than an HP percentage if you're able to get sometimes a triple or, a quad roll of HP percentage. So always be looking out for that stuff. Relentless gear is so incredibly valuable in this game. Make sure you're keeping your relentless gear or at least grading it on a curve, okay? Valuing it more. And then last but not least, let's go ahead and end with these OP sets. So deflection and swift parry. Why could I not think of deflection? Anyway, I got this from my tag team arena rewards. This is the first gear that I have in these sets, and I got pretty lucky. Check it out, guys. So for swift parry, I have crit rate and crit damage. Really good on the weapon. I have crit rate and speed on the helmet. I have speed and crit rate on the shield, and then I have attack percentage womp womp on the gauntlets. Probably not going to be using those. Then I have accuracy on the chest, which is potentially good on my debuffer, on my Madame Ceres, and then I got speed boots on my swift parry. Granted, the substat's nothing to write home about, but man, I was really happy with this gear. And then on deflection, I got the crit damage and speed on the weapon. This is HP and defense in the 25% chance to deflect 1 debuff onto the attacker, whereas swift parry is 18% speed, crit damage, 30% and 50% chance of unkillable when hit with fatal hit. And we're seeing some people even equip defensive teams in stuff like swift parry. That's how much it's kind of evolved. It's not just the nukers because of the crit damage and the speed. So anyway, deflection, I have some attack, resistance, accuracy on the chest, on the helmet, crit damage, crit rate, and HP on the shield. And then I have crit, defense, gloves. I don't know why I didn't sell these. I guess I just wanted the set because it's my first one. I got HP percentage on the chest. Even though the substats aren't amazing, I'm definitely going to be keeping that. And then, of course, I got HP's, flat stat on the boots. So deflection not as good, but I figured I'd go ahead. Let's see if I can get a couple of speed rolls. Not on that, but let's go ahead and see if we can get lucky here, upgrading some of this Swift Parry to level 8 before we kind of end off this video. I will say that I'm very, very happy that they added these artifact sets to the game in the Forge, because I made a video a while ago, right? I made a video 2 months ago or whatever when these artifacts were introduced to the game, and it's kind of like Lydia, like the new champion for Faction Wars. I just am not a big fan when they add, and I wasn't very articulate in that video that I made complaining about Lydia and what the heck is going on right now. Have you guys been having issues upgrading artifacts? I kind of get this more often lately, and it's not my internet connection or anything like that. Weird, right? And it does feel, maybe I'm being very, very kind of, I don't know, conspiracy theorist here, but it does seem like I'm taking way more rolls recently to upgrade my artifacts. Do you think they tweaked that with the new CEO at Plarium? Did they tweak the artifact, the percentage to get another level on artifacts? Anyway, guys, I did want to finish up that point. I'm not a fan of these new OP gear sets or new OP champions added to the game. Unless they're accessible by everybody, because all it does is if you have to have God tier gear to get these God tier rewards, then it furthers the divide between the player base, 99%, and the 1%. And it's okay, there's always going to be a divide there, but we don't want rewards that only go to the best players in the game, the biggest spenders in the game, because what that's going to do, again, is in turn, it's going to further that divide, further, that gap. And it's going to be, more difficult to build that bridge between that gap and the haves and the have-nots. Going to be very careful about that. That's why I'm against these gear sets until they add them to the Forge. Now at least we have a mechanism to actually, forge these ourselves. Guys, I have one. I'm not, I was going to upgrade all this gear, and I'm like, this is not that exciting, is it? I do have one piece that I will upgrade to see if I can get my first quad roll. It's in stun, and I think it's a helmet. Nope, did I? Yeah, I already rolled it. I was going to go for the quad of crit rate here on the stun helmet. Did not get it. Got speed as the last stat there. So what better time to wrap up this video than to right now. I hope this has kind of been a little bit of a rambly video. I said it was going to be a quick one going into it. And dude, shame on me. I failed again. I failed you guys again. That's all I do here on the channel. Be on the lookout. I have an amazing collaboration coming later on this week with Deadwood Jedi. I'm super excited about. Going to help me optimize my clan boss teams. And then again, I will have Mainable on the channel to talk way more in depth about artifact strategy in terms of like how to cultivate good artifact upgrade habits from the very beginning of this game until the end, and really talking about artifact sets and which goes best on which champions, what are unorthodox ways that are a little bit counterintuitive to build up champions for extra value. All of that and more coming later on this week. Subscribe here if you enjoyed the content. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.